the yellow line I want to show to you. So these are children that have undergone some kind of entrepreneurship training. And what you see is, okay, you have a big drop, but not quite as dramatic as in the other group. And what you see in early adulthood, it actually moves up, which is very encouraging. So what I want to say is entrepreneurship training is absolutely crucial. And what this organization, Junior Achievement Young Enterprise, and just to be clear, I'm not a spokesperson for Junior Achievement Young Enterprise, they just happen to have this good data. What they say is entrepreneurs are made, they're not born. So this is something really to keep in mind, I believe. So the changing nature of skills, which I just described, leads me actually to the action I would like to propose today, and that is, number one, to create a new indicator to measure emotional intelligence in children. So, just so you know, I've done a lot of work on indicators. The next slide, please. This is a paper I wrote about 18 months ago about innovating indicators. And what I argue in it is not only that we need new indicators, many of our indicators come from the post-industrial age, or come from the industrial age, and they are no longer suitable for today, but also to actually innovate how we take indicators into society at large, because indicators that are not known in the population are really quite meaningless. So we need to not only find new indicators, but also new ways of promoting them. So we need indicators because we cannot possibly evaluate progress unless we can measure it. I'm a firm believer that we need sort of goalposts and targets in order to measure our success. And this is why I'm proposing a new indicator for emotional intelligence in children. Now, you may say, but we already have some indicators, such as the PISA study, which I assume most of you are familiar with, that the OECD puts out. Yes, but PISA measures primarily numeracy and literacy skills. And while this is very, very important, every child needs to have good numeracy and literacy skills. What I'm trying to tell you here today is this is not enough. Our youngsters also need additional skills, and we need a new indicator for that. Now, developing a new indicator is a long process, and it's nothing that can be done over time. So what I would like to propose in addition to a new indicator is perhaps just to set some benchmarks. Namely that, for instance, 50% of youngsters in Navarra, for instance, would have some access to leadership and creativity training. Alternatively, to some kind of entrepreneurship training or going into companies and seeing what entrepreneurs do. Thirdly, diversity is for me an absolute precondition for creativity. And here, of course, I want to bring Europe back into the discussion because Europe's inherent strength is our diversity. And this is what makes me love Europe. You know, you come to Pamplona, it's so different from being in Belgium. I'm German, but I have a Swedish mother. This is Europe's strength, is the diversity. So give every child an opportunity to travel somewhere else, to meet peers from other European countries. Now, I want to end on this notion of Europe. So speaking about Europe, I want to really leave you with a message of hope. Because there is a lot that we can learn from other parts of Europe. And of course, I'm coming here today to Spain in the midst of a deep crisis. I know that you have unemployment in excess of 20%. I just mentioned the youth unemployment rate of 43%. But change, and profound change, is possible in times of crisis. And I want to give you two examples. Number one is Finland. Finland in the early 1990s was in a very, very deep recession. Unemployment was going through the roof. This was after the collapse of the Soviet Union. And Finland was actually a very backward economy. And what Finland did in the crisis was to completely transform its educational system. And today we, of course, know that Finland always ranks #1 in the PISA studies and has one of the best educational systems in the entire world. This was done during a crisis. Secondly, Finland did not cut any expenditure for research and innovation during the crisis. Contrary, it tried to increase the spending despite all the painful cuts that had to be made. And it paid off in spades because companies like Nokia came out of that crisis. And today, Finland consistently ranks as one of the most competitive economies in the world. So keep this in mind. The second example I want to give to you is a country I know best, which is Germany. I am German. Germany in 2004-2005 was widely described as the sick man of Europe. It was in a recession. It had over 5 million unemployed. It was the highest number of unemployed since the Weimar Republic, which preceded the Second World War. It was a very dangerous situation, also politically very, very vulnerable. Public finances were a mess. You remember the reform of the Stability and Growth Pact in 2005? This reform, which watered down the Stability and Growth Pact, was driven forward by Germany because they had such precarious public finances. And now look where Germany is 6 years later. It is widely considered the economic engine of Europe. And so this was possible just because of a few reforms, and it paid off in a very, very short period of time. So please keep this in mind. Now, on unemployment, please allow me to say there is no need to have such high unemployment. The Netherlands has an unemployment rate, even in this crisis. This is data from January 2011. Netherlands has an unemployment rate of 4.3% today. Austria has an unemployment rate of 4.3%. Germany, I just mentioned, has today an unemployment rate of 6.5%. Now you may say, yeah, but what about other countries that are in a crisis? So let me give you these numbers. Portugal, 11.2% unemployment. Ireland, 13.5%. Greece, 12.9%. These are several percentage points below your unemployment. High unemployment, ladies and gentlemen, is toxic for creating creative talent, because talent that isn't used cannot be creative. This is really, I would like to something that I want to instill in you. In every crisis, there is an opportunity. Please use this crisis as an opportunity. Learn from your peers around Europe. And of course, don't wait only for the crisis to be resolved from the top. I mean, change starts from within. It starts with us, and we need to really unleash our own creative potential to deal with this crisis. And I have every hope that Spain will come out of the crisis more creative, more innovative, and more successful than you have ever been. Thank you very much.